Maybe I should get some better kind of studio or something. It looks like I'm going to be squinting this whole video. Anyway, I wanted to get something out there with types and work like I've been promising for the last couple of weeks. And I thought the easiest way to start would be to start with the Enneagram, since that's something that I can basically just do right off the top of my head without much thought or notes. Now, this is going to be basic. I'm not using different types of Enneagram types. In other words, I'm not going to look at the self-preservation versus the social versus the sexual, and I'm not going to look at wings one versus the other, else I'd be going over 54 types and or 27 types if I just do the variations of each type. But anyway, I just want to go straight down the 9 types. I'm going to try not to insert myself into a video for a change, and I started with specifics. So I thought of people I've worked with and their different personalities, and then I kind of placed them on the Enneagram points. And then for the last couple, then I had to kind of reverse it and think of the Enneagram type, and then a different person would come to mind to fill it all out. So Enneagram types at work. So what's the purpose of all of this? The purpose would be when you know someone's Enneagram type, just like their MBTI type, you'll know how to work well with them, what might trigger them, different procedures, best practices maybe of communicating with people, to help solve problems together or with each other, or just working together smoothly. So let's jump into it. Enneagram 1, the perfectionist. These are the hard workers. They want to do everything correct. They want to do everything right. They want to do everything by the book. They don't like lies. They don't like cutting corners. The person I'm thinking of here, they're usually more introverted people, and they can rise to leadership. Oftentimes they do, but they usually hover around mid-management positions because leaders tend to be a little more extroverted than these guys. Now, in different systems, Enneagram 1 can be more extroverted, especially in those systems where they link it with TE types. But in my understanding and in my experiences, I'm thinking more of SI when I think of Enneagram 1. But again, teach their own. And these are the hard workers. You always want one of these guys or girls on your team because at the end of the day, to use an overused cliche, you need at least some people in your office or your place of work that you can depend on to do the right thing when it matters. Okay, so I really don't have anything bad to say about these people, except they're the ones who will remind you that you're doing something wrong if you're in a hurry, or you're switching the order of priority in a given number of tasks, and they think that the more important things should be put ahead of the more crucial or immediate thing, and sometimes you can get into trouble there. But if you do things the right way and always try to do things the right way, even when you make mistakes, you won't have much problems with these types. Okay, moving on to Enneagram 2. These are the socialites. These are the people who, you could kind of call them the glue that keeps the office or the team together. These are the people behind the team building activities, the celebrations, the parties, the team meetings. They keep everyone involved. And these are the ones who will sort of check in on you, hey, is everything going okay? How can I help? That kind of thing. And it's really good to have one of these people around too. I think where this type you can run into trouble with these types is if you're in a particularly bad mood and don't want to talk about it. They have a way of getting under your skin. Also, you know how magnets work. You know, you turn them on one side, they come together. You turn them on the wrong side, they push apart. This FE style attraction can get turned on its head sometimes, even with people of the same type. You know, you get two Enneagram 2s who don't like each other, and the gossip, the drama, the fireworks will start. So, but in general, I'm trying to think of healthy typings here instead of unhealthy. Maybe I should do a video on unhealthy. That'd be more fun. There's nothing more fun to talk about than your problems or agitations or bad stuff, huh? Anyway, but at their best, you always want an Enneagram 2 on your team, because you need that kind of social energy in the office. If everyone, if everyone was like me, no one would talk to each other hardly. Maybe some dry humor now and then. But in general, these are the people that will keep work moving at a nice, steady pace, and you can have a decent time while doing it. Okay, moving on to Enneagram 3. These are the performers. These are usually people in sales or marketing. They're driven by rankings and status, and they'll look the part, they'll act the part, they'll talk the part. In an apartment community, it's good to have a leasing agent as a type like this. You want people motivated to succeed, and that's the good stuff. Where it can be problematic is prioritization. In other words, you get a 3 and a 1 together, and the 1 will notice very quickly that the 3 will, the end is more important than the means, and if it's okay to cut corners if you end in success. And I think that that can be problematic, and the problem with it being problematic is because the problems this behavior causes don't show up right away. You miss a signature here and there, no one really notices. The 3's cruising along, knocking them out one at a time. And then months later, when someone loses a key and you look it up and the number was never inputted the correct way because the 3 was in too much of a hurry to pay attention to such mundane details, or someone wants a copy of their lease and it was never finished because someone forgot to sign it, or someone forgot to input the data into the computer properly, or someone turns in a key to replace it, but you can't find the key because it was never recorded, because it was given to someone, under the table, so to speak. That's the problem. And again, the most significant part of this is these problems don't show up at the beginning. They only come to fruition later. Kind of like a cold. Cold is pretty easy to prevent, but it's hard to get rid of once you have it. These are errors that if you slow down and pay more attention to detail, they're easily avoided. But once they start stacking up, and then they start coming in groups, for that little extra bit of speed in the beginning, now you're slowing the whole team down with your paperwork errors, and that can be an issue. Nevertheless, I think you want a 3 on your team because you want to keep people motivated. A little bit of inter-office competition is good and healthy, and it keeps everyone focused on the goal. Moving on to Enneagram 4. These are the creative artists. These are the people you want working on your models, your displays, your team projects. You take someone who's otherwise sort of disinterested and put them on this type of task, and you'll have a great addition to your team. Now, I'm talking about office life, and Enneagram 4s are less likely to be involved in this kind of setting than probably any of the other types. But an office can benefit from having someone like this on your team, for branding purposes, for office decor. Um, Really good stuff. I would align these guys with FI probably if I had to pick. Um, I think that they can be sensitive, but a little sensitivity is good. It can keep things from spinning out of control. If you have some more rowdy people on your team, and with the advent of social media and the importance of social media, it's good to have a 4 on your team, because they'll keep abreast of that and keep your branding looking good, and keep everything looking pretty, and can't go wrong there. Moving on to Enneagram 5, these are the tech gurus. You don't think of these types as teachers, and they're not really teachers, but they're the ones with the knowledge. When systems go down, when something isn't working properly, you got to have one of these people on your team, or at least on an adjacent team, like a tech department that can help you troubleshoot when things don't go as planned. Databases like Salesforce that a lot of us use, including me, they're pretty straightforward, but they get glitches sometimes. You can lose files. You can have things that are unprintable. You can have disjointed prospects with records, and you have to have a way to bring those together without duplicating them and making doubles. Those kinds of things tech guys are important for. The downside is that it seems like with the more knowledge you get, the less social ability you have, almost. These aren't the guys who are going to drive your social media reviews, that's for sure. And they're definitely not going to mesh with the 2s or the 7s on Enneagram. These guys usually don't have much of a sense of humor. They dress really plainly, or if anything, they dress almost underdress inappropriately. They don't have much emotion. That they can look at someone who just won the lottery and listen to them, and someone who just suffered a death in the family, and you won't know which one the 5 is talking to. Like, they're just stone faced, just zero emotion. They just sit there. But you got to have one of them, because when things go wrong on the tech side, and systems and computers and all that kind of stuff, you need someone who knows the proper workarounds and procedures to get you up to speed again. Moving on to Enneagram 6, I think this is the one that gave me the most difficulty, because 6 is so broad, and it shouldn't be. In my mind, I'd like each of the types to represent the same percentage of the population and have the same place. When I was trying to link 6 up with a specific Jungian function, I had a hard time, because I can kind of fit almost all of them in there. But these would mostly be probably SI types, some TI up there, maybe some SE even. I saw a percentage where there was a substantial amount of NIs in Enneagram 6, which was surprising to me, but I don't run the stats on that. So anyway, 6s are, I don't want to downplay them by saying they're fillers, but it's good to have a few people repping this type on your team. These are the solid workers, the consultants, the company representatives. They're very, they're usually rule based. They want to do the right thing for the team. They're loyal to the brand. If they follow the rules, they're not to a fault like a 1 can do, and sometimes and get too down on themselves for a mistake or something. The 6 cares, but their main thing is security. They just want to do the right thing and make sure that everything's running smoothly. And um, they're good to have around. I would say the only problem that can come with sixes is I think they can stay in the same place for so long. That's probably due to their loyalty. That I think sometimes they can stagnate. Sometimes you can see them have gifts that could be used in a higher position somewhere else, and they're just content to keep plugging away at what they're doing. And that's good. You want people like that, but for them personally, I think a lot of these guys are maybe NE polar, like vulnerable. They have a hard time seeing outside the box, which helps them in their current role, but stifles them in their personal lives, looking outward. But again, it's better to have loyal people than disloyal people, and you need some of these people on your team. Moving on to Enneagram 7. The people I think of when I think of Enneagram 7s, I mean, these are the people who bring the party to work. They're always having fun, a lot of humor, a lot of variety. They do tend to switch jobs a lot, so as fun as they are, they don't hang around for too long. But it's good to have some of these people on your team too, as long as they don't get out of control and do the things they're supposed to get done. They're great. I've always been kind of jealous of these people. Like, I don't like when they do make a mistake or when something goes wrong, it seems to just roll right off them. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like a mistake that would ruin my day or even ruin my week. They're just like, oh, well, things happen, and they just move on. And I wish I could have more of that kind of, water off a duck's back kind of aura to myself, instead of being a stickler and being uptight all the time. But it's great to have these people around. They'll keep you laughing, they'll keep you having fun at work, and you can't go wrong with having a few of them on your team. Moving on to number 8, the supervisor. Enneagram 8s, a lot of times these are supervisors. They care about principles. They'll use force to get things done. Sometimes physical force, like, move, let's get this stuff out of the way, and they'll just start moving it, and you feel compelled to follow. Like I said, they are a lot of times in positions of leadership. I think you need someone like this at times. I don't think they're necessary all the time. When things are going smoothly, you don't really need an 8 around. But when things need to be straightened up, people need to be disciplined, things need to be put back on the right track, that's where 8s come in, because they're principled. They do care about doing things the right way. I would say the only issue I have with 8s personally is they tend to go too fast. A lot of times they are supervisors, which means a lot of time they're in the position of teaching you a task or a procedure, and because of their speed and impatience, they either skip some steps or they simply go too fast and you can't keep up. If you keep notes, you don't remember anything they said. If you don't keep notes, you're going to forget the things they went through, and it's hard to, something that would take one good time with a 1 or a 5, you'll have to go through with an 8 several times because of their speed and impatience. So my request of 8s is slow down a little bit for the rest of us. But they're great and they're necessary. Last but not least, Enneagram 9s, chill. Do you have these guys at work? They're like the Stanleys in the TV show The Office. They kind of go through the motions. They're kind of smooth. They have a little bit of the water off a duck's back feel that the 7s have, but they're more chill. They do take things slow and easy. They relax. They remind us not to take ourselves too seriously, I think, and that's their significance to me. the issue I can have with them is sometimes they appear lazy to me. You know, they go so slow and they seem to be so nonchalant at times that I wonder, you know, hey, Earth calling, you know, are you there? Wake up, we got to get this done. And they'll always have an answer, though. It's like, hey, Shane, don't worry about it. We got it handled. We're doing A, B, and C. Just relax, you know. And sometimes that's good advice for all of us. So it's good to have at least one of these people on your team to keep it all in perspective. So that's about it. I wanted to keep it under 20 minutes. I'm just a little bit over. If you got this far, thanks. I'll move on to MBTI types next, but I obviously won't have enough time to do them all in one video. So we'll cut it down into quadras or maybe even one by one. That's all I got. Out.